Hey there, innovation champions. Melissa Dinwiddie here. Have you ever found yourself completely stuck on a project, feeling like your creative well has run dry? I still remember the sickening feeling in my stomach when I got my very first art commission way back when, after my initial excitement wore off. Panic set in, and I seriously contemplated calling the client to cancel the contract and return their deposit. I was so terrified. Who was I kidding? I had no idea how to bring their vision to life. Ugh, ugh. I remember that feeling so clearly. And this pattern, I got to tell you, it repeated itself countless times throughout my 15-year career as a professional artist. And it still happens today with every workshop I design, every keynote I write, every song I compose, every piece of art I make. And the cycle looks something like this. This is going to be amazing. Oh my God. What was I thinking? I am never going to figure this out. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm going to keep trying. Wait, I think this is actually working. I can't believe I ever doubted this would come together. Now, here's a little visual that, while kind of tongue-in-cheek, captures the journey pretty perfectly. This is the creative process in a nutshell. Now, what I've discovered is that this cycle isn't a bug in the creative process, it's a feature. The very discomfort of pushing through those moments of doubt and confusion is exactly where the most innovative solutions emerge. What we're really talking about is a universal innovation renewal cycle. And what fascinates me is that this pattern isn't unique to art. Like I said, I mean, it's the same cycle, whether I'm designing a workshop or making a piece of art or whatever it is. And I see the exact same cycle in the tech teams that I work with, whether they're developing new products, solving complex engineering problems, or reimagining their business models. Because innovation isn't a straight line. It is a series of expansions and contractions, of flow states, followed by plateaus. The problem? Most of us aren't prepared for the inevitable plateaus. So we interpret them as failure. We interpret them as evidence that we've lost our touch or that our initial idea just wasn't good enough. But what if these plateaus are actually an essential part of the renewal cycle? What if they're not obstacles to innovation, but doorways to deeper creativity? So let me break this down using my Create the Impossible framework. So if you have followed me at all, if you've watched any of these videos or read any of my blog posts or followed me on LinkedIn, you know that my Create the Impossible framework has 3 steps, and we're going to go through them one by one. Step 1, play hard. And here we're talking about embracing that plateau. So this first element of my framework, play hard, is all about approaching challenges with a spirit of curiosity and exploration. And when you hit a creative plateau, your instinct might be to push harder in the same direction, to double down on what's worked before. But that's like trying to force your way through a brick wall. Instead, what if you treated the plateau as an invitation to play in a different space, to explore tangential ideas, to experiment with new approaches, or simply give yourself permission to wander. I discovered this by accident during a particularly frustrating art commission way back when. After days of getting nowhere, I put my, real project aside and I just started doodling really absurd, impossible designs just for fun. There was no pressure, there were no expectations. It was just pure play. And the breakthrough for my actual project came during this playful detour, emerging from a connection that I never would have made if I kept banging my head against a wall. That same wall, it just wouldn't have happened. This is why play isn't just for fun. It is functionally crucial for breaking through creative plateaus. So that's step one, play hard. Let's turn to step two, make crap. And here we are talking about the power of productive failure. So this second element of my framework, make crap, is all about giving yourself permission to create imperfect first attempts. Creative plateaus often stem from perfectionism. We get stuck because we're afraid to make something bad. We're afraid to fail publicly, to shatter that illusion of competence that we have worked so hard to maintain. But every master artist knows the secret. You have to make a lot of bad art to get to the good stuff. Or as I like to say, we need the crap to fertilize the good stuff. And when I was teaching calligraphy, I would tell my students they had 500 bad alphabets in them that they needed to get out before the good ones would start flowing. Now, this was not to discourage them, but to liberate them, to give them permission to make those really necessary bad attempts without judging themselves. If you have permission to make 500 bad alphabets, then, you're going to do a lot more calligraphy. And in tech innovation, we often call this failing fast or rapid prototyping. But too often, companies adopt the terminology without embracing the underlying mindset. And they still expect each iteration to be better than the last, leading to risk aversion and incremental thinking. True innovation requires genuine comfort with productive failure, with making something truly crappy as a stepping stone to discovery. So that's step two, make crap. Which brings us to step three in the framework, learn fast. And here we're talking about finding the pattern. So this third element of my framework, learn fast, is all about extracting insights from every experience, especially the challenging ones. Now, creative plateaus are actually really rich with information if we know how to read them. They're telling us something really important about our approach, our assumptions, or our process. When I'm stuck in a creative project, I now, instead of just getting mired in the stuck, now I ask myself, what pattern am I receiving? Or I'm sorry, what pattern am I repeating that's no longer serving me? I ask myself, what assumption am I making that maybe is limiting my options? And I ask myself, what am I avoiding because it feels uncomfortable or unfamiliar? These questions can reveal that the plateau is not a sign of failure. It's a signal that I've outgrown my current approach and I need to evolve. I remember one particularly challenging art commission when I realized that I had been trying to force a technique that had worked perfectly in previous pieces, but it just wasn't right for this new context. And the plateau was just my creative instinct telling me that I had to try something different. So it was really useful, this plateau, even though it felt really uncomfortable at the time. So let's talk about breaking through your next plateau. How can you apply these insights to your own creative cycles, whether you're developing software, leading a team, or solving complex business problems? Well, here are 3 practical strategies that have helped me and the teams I've worked with. First, schedule strategic detours. When you hit a plateau, don't just push harder in the same direction. That's actually not going to help you. Deliberately schedule time to explore adjacent spaces. So if you're stuck on a coding problem, for example, try maybe sketching it visually. Or if your product strategy feels stale, maybe study an entirely different industry for inspiration. So that's idea number 1. Number 2, create low stakes environments. Designate specific projects or time blocks where failure, so-called, is not just allowed, but it's actually expected. Think about Google's famous 20% time. The reason this worked is precisely because it created a space where the pressure to succeed was completely removed, which allowed for true innovation to emerge. And third, document your cycle. Start tracking your creative cycles. Note when you enter a plateau and note what ultimately helps you break through. And over time, you'll start to see patterns that can help you navigate future plateaus more effectively. Also remember, every great innovator, from Einstein to Steve Jobs, every one of them experienced the same cycles of expansion and contraction. You are not alone. The difference isn't that they avoided plateaus, it's that they learned to recognize them as a natural and actually really necessary part of the creative process. The plateau isn't your enemy, it's a silent partner in your innovation journey, because it forces you to question your assumptions and explore new territories and ultimately break through to solutions that you never could have planned in advance. So the next time you're feeling stuck, remember, you're not failing at creativity. You are simply in a renewing phase of the cycle. So embrace it, play with it, learn from it, and watch as the breakthrough emerges always when you least expect it. Ready to transform how your team approaches creative plateaus and innovation cycles? Click the link in the description to book a complimentary innovation strategy session. Let's explore how the Create the Impossible framework can help you navigate that messy middle and turn creative plateaus into breakthrough opportunities. If you found these insights about the innovation renewal cycle valuable, hit that like button and subscribe to join our community of innovation champions. Don't forget to ring that notification bell so you never miss a new strategy for driving innovation in your organization. And I would love to know your thoughts on this topic. Which part of the innovation cycle do you find most challenging? Is it the initial self-doubt, the messy middle, or something else entirely? What strategies have you discovered for breaking through your own creative plateaus? Share your insights in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious, stay playful, and keep creating the impossible. See you next time. Ciao.